One of the quietest realizations I have had as a creator is that I was spending more mental energy on what to do than actually doing it. Every video felt like I was starting from zero. What to say, how to structure it, what comes next. And by the time I was ready to film, I was already tired. That's not a creativity problem. That's a systems problem. And the good news is it's actually something you can change. Here is what I think is really happening. When there is no clear path from idea to upload, your brain has to build that path every single time you sit down to create. And that rebuilding is where so much of energy quietly goes. We open our laptop and feel immediately stuck because we see so many tasks to do, but there is no clear order to follow. And that's how small decisions start to feel strangely heavy. And at the end of the day, nothing really feels finished. But still, your energy is already gone at the end of your work session. When you have no system in place, in case of especially content creation, everything goes really chaotic. When I had no clear next step in place, I basically took the task whatever felt urgent that time. Though this process might sound okay, but here is why it isn't. It happened to me for so many times that editing is done, but title and thumbnail of the video weren't ready. I just thought that weren't urgent yet. And for some videos, I discovered this at the very moment of the upload. In fact, I realized the description box was also completely blank. I had to tweak last minute details that even includes the title, thumbnail, description, even tags. So uploading every video was really chaotic. And then I started realizing what I was doing wrong. Because when there is no system in place, decision fatigue happens. There is no clear next step. So my brain gets confused what to do next. And when there is no clear next step, you need much longer time than what you need when you know the next step. Because when you do the steps needed to make the big thing happen randomly and haphazardly, then the whole process is going to feel much harder than it is. So hard that it's almost impossible to sustain. I made a simple free planner for exactly this moment. It's called the Calm Creator Video Planner. It gives you ideas, one quiet place to land, and helps you choose one direction you can actually move forward with. The link to the planner is in the description box below if you want to check it out. And there is something that layers on top of this because content creation, especially on YouTube, isn't just one skill. When you are learning all of them at once without a clear sequence to follow, the overwhelm compounds in ways that are really hard to separate from each other. I don't think we talk honestly enough about how much YouTube actually asks of you. This is not just making a video. There is ideating, scripting, filming, editing, SEO, thumbnails. And if you are trying to figure out all of this while also trying to create consistently, it's a lot to hold at once. And while creating content on YouTube, I know that it feels like learning 10 different things simultaneously. And we also feel unsure about which skill to focus on first. That's why we often have unfinished project because something felt too hard. Then we start comparing ourselves to the creators who look effortless on camera. And we quietly wonder if this is even for me. I still remember the days when I tried to learn all of the skills like filming, editing, scripting, all at once. And I know that every single video felt like starting from scratch on multiple fronts. And the learning itself felt like a second full-time job because there are a lot of things to learn here. So I think what we really need to understand is creating content on YouTube or any other platform needs multiple skills, and learning those skills might feel overwhelming. When we try to master all of those skills at once, that's what makes it feel really impossible, not the skills themselves. So here is how you can make this process of learning easier. Identify the one skill that's causing the most friction right now and focus only there. The one thing, not everywhere. Let everything else be good enough for now. Don't try to learn them all at once. You don't need to master everything before you even begin. Every single creator learns in stages, even the ones who look polished. But here is something I noticed. Even after the skills start to feel more familiar, something else can quietly take the joy out of creating. And it has nothing to do with how capable you are. This one crept up on me slowly. I didn't notice it happening at first, but at some point, without fully realizing it, I stopped creating because something felt meaningful and started creating for something else entirely. Let's be honest here. When we start checking the analytics more than actually creating, and when we filter every idea through will it get views, then even though the video looks good and performs really well, it starts feeling hollow inside the creator's mind. Because that way, we start dreading the process of creation instead of enjoying it. And this way, you will not even know when it stopped feeling like yours. Your mind can be crowded with so many ideas, but nothing will feel right to pursue. And if you know me, you know I was in a niche that was working. Views were really good. But slowly I started noticing that something felt off while creating. The numbers were there, but the meaning behind my content wasn't there. Instead of pushing through, I chose to pivot, even though it meant starting over. Because I think if creating content is solely focused on only view and money, then there will be no real enjoyment in the process of creating. And it will feel like another draining task. So if your mind feels crowded with so many ideas, but no idea feels clear to work on or has the meaning why you are creating, then it's worth to pause on. So desire for the growth isn't the problem. It's just making sure the process still feels like yours. And sometimes the drain doesn't come from the why at all. It comes from the how, from this very particular pattern that I think a lot of thoughtful creators fall into, and that I have definitely fallen into myself more times than I would like to admit. I want to talk about perfectionism, but not in a done is better than perfect way, because I have always found that a little too simple. So I want to talk about it more honestly, because perfectionism has a cost I didn't fully realize until I was deep inside it. And I will start with some common examples we content creators do while we try to make everything perfect. Refilming the same section several times because we don't think the section was filmed perfectly. Editing for hours for something no one will even notice. Delaying the publish because something still feels off. And this way, what really happens is we get exhausted before the video is even done. And that way, we lose all the joy of creating somewhere in the process. And I think I'm a really good example for this because I get into the perfectionism trap so often. This trap drains me out so fast, and the enjoyment part of the whole process gets totally missed. I spent days for a single video that could have taken some hours just to make it perfect. And by the time it was done, I didn't want to even look at it. Not because I didn't care, but because I had spent so much of myself getting there. It's a bit like spending hours on a drawing or a craft project. To make it perfect, you took much longer, and by the end, you just don't want to look at it anymore because the exhaustion of the process takes over before you can even feel proud. After getting into this trap so often, I realized that perfectionism is rarely about high standards. It's usually about fears. And we need to really understand this. The more energy that goes into perfecting the video, the less energy is left for actually creating. Here is a simple step to tackle this situation. Before you even start, decide what done looks like for this video. You have to decide in advance. The video is done. when this is complete. And this way, when you have already decided that in advance, you trust that standard and close the project when it's done. No tweaking, no this, that. So we have named four real things: the missing roadmap, the skill overwhelm, creating for the wrong reason, and the perfectionism trap. And I think naming them already matters. But I also want to talk about what actually started to shift things for me because it was quieter and simpler than I expected. What helped me wasn't doing more. It wasn't a stricter schedule or a productivity system. It was having one calm, clear path I could return to so that every time I sat down to create, my brain wasn't starting from scratch. I know many of you tried systems before and it felt really rigid and that felt not sustainable. And this way you get into all or nothing approach that will eventually burn you out. I know this because it happened to me. I wanted some structure, but I hate rigidity. And I was also unsure what sustainable systems even look like. I wanted to create consistently without it costing everything else in my life. After years of reactive, scattered creating, from messy blogs to early YouTube, I started teaching myself everything as I went. And slowly I started building a simple, repeatable sequence that I could come back to every time. And that was what changed everything for me. Because when you have a calm process in place, it reduces all the small decisions, which restores your creative energy. And I started realizing that a bit of structure doesn't limit creativity. It protects it. Imagine your ideas are already sorted before you sit down, so you are never choosing on the day. Imagine finishing a video and feeling actually done, not just technically done. That feeling is what a calm, repeatable process gives you. And this doesn't need to be complex or perfect to work. Everything I have shared today, the decision fatigue, the missing process, the perfectionism, creating for the wrong reason. These aren't separate problems. They are part of the same thing, not having a calm, repeatable way to move from an idea to a finished video without it costing everything else in your life. And if this resonated with you, the Calm Creator Video Planner linked in the description box is a small, simple place to start. You can download it for absolutely free. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one.